What's up, people? How you guys doing tonight? Um, I'm Desmond Patterson, and welcome to the pregame flight plan once again. Tonight is a big game. Um, Green Bay Packers are coming to town. Aaron Rodgers coming to town. Uh, I remember a couple of weeks ago when I said I hate to say that this is a must-win game, but this tonight is going to be a playoff atmosphere. Uh, and because it's a playoff atmosphere for both teams, because they're basically playing for their season tonight, um, the Eagles are ninth as far as playoff seeding is considered right now going into the night, and Green Bay is lower than us with 4 wins. So they're going to come in here as if they're playing for their playoff life. Um, the last two games they haven't been able to stop anybody. They're dealing with a lot of injuries in the secondary, um, and they've been giving up a ton of points. I think in the last 2 weeks they've given up somewhere of 90 plus points in 2 games. Tennessee scored 40 plus, and Washington scored 40 plus on them. So people are pretty much saying that Green Bay's season is over if they don't win tonight. That will give them a seventh win. Excuse me, that will give them a seventh loss in the NFC, um, which is huge. So this is what we have to consider. Um, Make no mistake about it. Aaron Rodgers is still Aaron Rodgers. As bad as this team looks like right now, Aaron Rodgers is still Aaron Rodgers. Um, he's he's on pace to throw for over 4,000 yards. He has 25 touchdown passes at this point. He's still scrambling around and making plays. And if Green Bay doesn't have the deepest wide receiving core in the league, them and the Washington Redskins, I would like for somebody to show me one deeper than Green Bay. And Aaron Rodgers is utilizing all of them. So let me backtrack a little bit here. Uh, the Philadelphia Eagles are 5-5 at this point. Um, with as hard as it is to believe, a very realistic chance of making the playoffs. Um, at this point, if the season were to end today, the two wild card teams would be New York and Washington, with Dallas winning the division. Atlanta will win their division. The Lions will win their division. So that would leave Green Bay out. That would leave Tampa Bay out. That would leave the Panthers out. That would leave a bunch of teams out of the playoffs that were um, we coming into the season. We're looking at as a representative of the NFC in the playoff dance. And Seattle, who lost yesterday to Tampa Bay, will be in because of their leading their division. Um, the Eagles have to be very careful going into this game because, like I said, the Green Bay Packers are fighting for their playoff life. You have to realize that um, coming into this season, when you saw Green Bay on our schedule, there was no way that you penciled this in as a win. Um, no way, absolutely no way that you penciled this in as a win. Um, Even with them coming here and playing here. Um, but this team is not the team that we've been accustomed to watching for the last few years. Defensively, they've dealt with a ton of injuries on the defensive side, especially in their secondary. You have Damaris Randall, who's coming back tonight after not playing for. I mean, they thought that he wasn't going to play anymore this season. Um, you still have some good players on defense. You still got Clay Matthews. You still got Clinton Dix, who I was in love with coming out of school. I wanted the Eagles to draft him because he was like the closest thing to Brian Dawkins I had seen since Brian Dawkins. And anybody knows me knows how I feel about that guy. Um, is the greatest Eagle in Eagles history. Period. Hands down, he's the greatest Eagle player in history. Um, that guy gave it his all every time he stepped on the field, and I appreciated his whole career here. He should have never ever had to go play in Denver. Um, the Joe Banner lost his job behind that one. Um, Jeffrey Lurie said Dawkins should have never even made it out of town. They disrespected him with the go see what you can get and bring us back an offer. He never even came back. He just signed with Denver and sent for his family. You don't treat people that give their all to you like that, and that was a complete and utter mistake. Um, he should have never worn another jersey, an NFL jersey. Um, but again, the secondary is in shambles. You got Julius Peppers playing left end, even though he's ancient, he's still getting it done. 4.5 sacks, still being disruptive. Um, you have some big tackles in there, Guyton and McDaniel. I'm not Daniels, not McDaniels, Daniels. But this is a game that the Eagles um, should be able to get back on track in a huge way. Um, the Eagles are dealing with their own injuries. Ryan Matthews won't be suiting up tonight. Um, Vitae won't be suiting up tonight, so they're going to have to reshuffle the offensive line once again. Sproles is going to be limited with the rib injury. Um, and the big surprise is whether or not Nelson Aguilar is going to play tonight, whether he's going to be uh, limited or deactivated. Um, I know I said last week that this I don't want to see this kid anymore, um, but I'm like I watch a lot of film, and last week Nelson got open a lot. Uh, his problem is not his talent. I mean, the more I watch him, the more I'm seeing that his problem is not his talent. His problem is a mental thing. And I made a suggestion last week about letting him return punts. When a player starts to lose confidence, you got to do little things to kind of build them back up. Let them have some success. Let the crowd cheer for him, get back on his side. And one of the things that I suggested was to let him return punts. This kid was a dynamic punt returner in college. And guess what? They had him returning fielding punts this week at practice. So um, with Darren Sproles being limited and you not wanting him to take a big blow, um, why wouldn't they put him out there? I mean, he doesn't have a fumbling problem; he has a catching problem. But fielding punts and catching is not the same thing. It's a completely different animal. I suggest let that kid return punts. Let him, you know what I mean? The way that this special teams is set up, the way our special teams is set up, um, he might break one for a touchdown. I mean, it doesn't really take a lot for a player to gain their confidence back again. Um, but, we shall see. Fan favorite Paul Turner was activated, moved up to the active roster. A lot of people were surprised that we were able to keep him on a practice squad. Practice squad salary is like $6,900 a week. The reason that the Eagles were able to keep him on the practice squad and nobody signed him off of the practice squad is that they were paying him a full salary of 480 plus thousand. They were paying him a regular salary like he was on the active roster. So that kept teams from being able to sign him away because the Eagles were paying him like he was an active player, not a practice squad player. So that's why he remained loyal to the Eagles and didn't try to get out of town, even though teams came after him, and namely San Diego. San Diego came after him and tried to sign him, but he was like, "Nah, they taking care of my pockets, so I'm gonna ride out with them." Um, not to be all in the dude's financial business, but just giving you a little tidbit of information of why they were able to keep him stashed. Because he is good enough to play on other teams. So he will be active tonight. They're going to work him in. I still like to see Trigger a lot more. Number 16, he needs to be on the field a lot more in different formations. Let him run different routes. Let him run the dig route. Let him run the comeback. Let him run the slant. And then so when he does decide to, get his number called and to run a go route, it's a surprise to the defense. Not just you just trotting them out there 3 times a game and just telling them go deep. It's easy to cover that. Even this banged up secondary will be able to cover that. But what I do want to say about this game, Nelson will probably be limited at the least, and not in uniform at the most. But the team does have extra spots, being as though Ryan is deactivated and Halapuli Vaitai is deactivated. Um, and so we do have some spots that they can just dress 5 wide receivers. I don't see what the big deal is with them dressing them, because if somebody gets hurt, you're gonna need them anyway. So um, I would like to see him in uniform. I kind of changed my tune this week, just as a human interest, as a human interest story. You don't want the kid to fail. Like, I know it's frustrating, but you don't want him to fail. And at this point, he's still a young kid, so you don't want to damage his mental. You don't want to damage his mental. So um, let the kid dress. Uh, if he can't get right against this secondary, then he ain't gonna get right at all this year. Because um, this is one of the worst banged up. And I don't say the worst because talent wise. I say the worst because the guys that they're trotting out here were basically supposed to be backups and bench players, and now they're starting. And so when you have to start guys who you were only figuring to play in certain packages or in an emergency instance, and you got to play them every down, it's crucial. You know what I mean? It gets crucial. So they've been hanging their hat on Aaron Rodgers, and he can't do it all on his own. Um, Tonight defensively, um, Green Bay doesn't have a run game to speak of, but they do have James Starks, who was great in the screen game, who's great in the short passing game. And Aaron Rodgers has, you got Jordy Nelson, you got Randall Cobb, you got Ty Montgomery, you got the Davis kid, you got uh, who I like Mr. Davis. He's nice. He's nice. But and then you have Devonte Adams, and you got Jared Cook, the tight end, and you got who was the other tight end? Oh, Rogers, the other Rogers. Uh, he has a lot of targets to throw to, so we have to get pressure on Aaron Rodgers, and pressure and collapse on him, not giving him gaps to escape. Because once the play breaks down, he's a maestro at conducting. Um, the only one doing it better than him right now is Russell Wilson, and we got a whole mouthful of him last week. I don't want to see him no more. I'm glad that Tampa Bay beat up on them yesterday. They scored 5 points yesterday, which means one was a safety. So um, that one's going to haunt me because I really believe that we had a chance to beat that team. But offensively tonight, Carson Wentz is going to have an opportunity to make some plays in the passing game, to make some throws downfield, but he has to be more accurate than he was. Yeah, he's handicapped with these wide receivers, but last week he missed about 10 throws, um, and it had nothing to do with not being open because players were open. He missed Ertz about 3 or 4 times. He missed about 10 throws last week that you kind of were like, what? But throwing 45 times a game, um, and let's back it up a little bit even more. He's a rookie. Rookies usually play 10 games, 11 games a year. Um, he has played more than 11 games no times in his career, in his high school or college career. So by this time of the year, they're close to wrapping up their season. Um, he finished his college season, then he went through the whole draft process, the combine and all of that, then training camp, then preseason, now regular season. Granted, he was hurt in the preseason. He didn't play a lot, but he still had to go through the rigors of um, working out, training, showing up every day. He's been showing up at 5:30 in the morning to go over film and things like that, which he did not have to do in college. You don't got to show up at 5 o'clock in the morning in college for nothing. So it's been a long year for him. It's been a long season for him. So we got to give him a kind of a little bit of leeway, um, just because he's not used to going this long. But there are throws that he has to make, um, and the receivers got to catch the ball. At the end of the game, I called them garbage time catches. DGB had 5 catches, and one included a touchdown for like something like 60 yards. Matthews had some catches. Uh, Ertz had some catches. Selleck had some catches, and it looked like they started clicking at the end of the game. But I called them garbage time catches. They need to start the game like that tonight. Um, DGB should. We all know what he should be doing at 6'5", 240 pounds. Um, but he hasn't been doing that. So we need to try to get him involved early. Um, Need to try to get, if Nelson is out there, get him involved early. And like I said, let him have some success against these DBs. Um, I think the most important person that's going to be on the field tonight will be number 28, Wendell Smallwood, our running back. He's going to get a ton of carries tonight, a ton of carries. He needs to run physical. He needs to run hard. He needs to finish runs. And he needs to show this organization that he can carry the ball 15 to 20 times a game. Um, I know he can do it. I believe that he's a male toter. I believe that he could tote the rock, and that he'll get a chance to do that tonight. I'm going to keep it short and sweet because um, this game is going to speak for itself. I don't think I need to do a whole lot of talking about this game. The magnitude of this game is such that um, my words will be meaningless once the clock starts ticking. Um, but if they can keep the ball, take the air out of the ball and grind the ball out. Um, I know I say a lot that you don't want this rookie throwing the ball 40, 45 times a game. I still believe that. Once the weather is what it is, you want to be able to show that you can pound the ball, and this will be a game that they can start doing that to grind the ball out and keep Aaron Rodgers off the field. Um, if they do decide to throw the ball 40 times a game, I can't think of a better team to do it against than this one because of the secondary. Um, like I said, the last 2 games, Green Bay's defense has given up 40 plus points. I don't think the Eagles approached 40 points, but I believe they approached 30 points. Um, and they're going to need to do that against this Green Bay team to ensure a victory. If the Eagles can get a W tonight against this Green Bay team and basically end their playoff push and keep ours intact, that will be huge. That will go a long way towards us moving up the ranks and a fight for a wild card spot because the only two teams that will be ahead of us after that are Tampa Bay and Minnesota. And Minnesota we beat head to head, and then we have to face Washington and New York. And if we can win those games, we give ourselves a pretty good chance to be in the playoff hunt for a wild card spot. So we're going to sit back, see what happens tonight. Um, Hopefully we get a win, and I'll have something great to talk about on the 2020. So thanks for joining me on the pregame flight plan. Join me afterwards for the 2020. I'm Desmond Patterson. Peace. Go Birds.